good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Hi, this is Fray, and welcome to this little mini webinar. And here with Motherwise, or you might be listening to this as a podcast. The topic today that we're going to cover is basically when you're pregnant during this whole pandemic, COVID-19 coronavirus, and what is the new normal on what kind of antenatal and postnatal care you can expect as being, a reasonable minimum or maximum amount of contact with your midwife or your obstetrician. So firstly, with regards to that first trimester, so we're talking about under 12 weeks, look, really practically everything that can need to be done during that time can be done over over a phone call or a video call, and just a really short little face-to-face meeting at some point to do a physical assessment of your baselines. So that's to get your blood pressure baseline of what that is at the beginning of the pregnancy, your urine analysis, your height, your weight, and an initial set of bloods. Certainly at this stage where, unless you're very unsure of your dates and you really feel that you need an early dating scan, then there's no real particular reason to have a scan in that early part of your pregnancy either. You may decide to have the nuchal translucency scan done at around 12 weeks. That's specifically to look to see whether your baby is high risk or low risk for Down's syndrome and some other rarer syndromes. That's an optional thing and a very personal decision as to whether you do or don't do that check on your baby. And of course, it's only a scan, it's only a screen. It doesn't mean your baby definitely does or definitely does not have Downs. It's just whether your baby's this pregnancy is low risk or high risk, and if you decide to go on and have more comprehensive diagnostic testing such as an amniocentesis. Okay, so but back to just routine care. So in your second trimester, somewhere in that sort of first month of your second trimester, so somewhere in that 12 to 16 weeks, it would be good for you to have a bit of a phone call or video follow-up with your obstetrician or midwife. At around 16 to 20 weeks, it would be again good to have a follow-up phone call or video check with your midwife or obstetrician after you've had the anatomy ultrasound scan, if you're having that. If there was going to be one scan that you would be taking during that pregnancy, that would probably be the one to choose. If you don't want to be out and about exposing yourself to other people and radiography and seeing close contact with sonographers and everything else, that would probably be the one scan that would be good to go for, which can be done typically between 18 and 20 weeks. I would say it's probably better to really hold off to that 19 to 20 weeks. And that's really so that any anatomical abnormalities can be picked up immediately and managed accordingly. So if there's any, for example, if there was an anomaly, it might be a case that, look, this baby really needs to be born in hospital where there's access to pediatricians and NICU rather than considering a home birth if we know there's an anatomical anomaly. And also the other thing that's very beneficial is knowing where the placenta is so that we know that it's not covering the exit or being what we call placenta previa, which is a very dangerous thing to have if you don't know about it and you're going into labour. So that's a definite caesarean section if you have a placenta that fully covers the exit hole. Okay, so good reason to do that. So then at about sort of 20 to 24 weeks, at that stage, it would probably be, that's really when it would be good to have another face-to-face so that your midwife or obstetrician can check your blood pressure, do a little bit of a fetal well-being assessment, sort of starting to measure the height of your womb, etc., and to do a urine analysis, which is just a dipstick into your urine, checking if there's any glucose or protein in your urine. If there's any glucose in your urine, that can be a sign of gestational diabetes, or if there's any protein in your urine, that can be a sign of preeclamptic toxemia. So those are good routine checks to have done at that stage. Then say another sort of 2 or 3 weeks later, around that 24 to 26 weeks, good to have a phone video checkup. Again, touch base on, it doesn't have to be face to face. Then I would say at around about 28 weeks would be the next time that would be good to have a face to face. Again, to recheck your blood pressure, do another fetal well-being growth assessment of that fundal height, that's the height of your womb, a urine analysis dipstick, and a repeat of your bloods as well. So, and that's often when women will have a blood test done to double check for gestational diabetes. And then in the 3rd trimester, doing another phone video sort of online check at around sort of 30, 32 weeks, somewhere in there. I would suggest another face-to-face somewhere around sort of 32, 34 weeks, again to recheck your blood pressure, fetal well-being, urine dipstick analysis, and from this point onwards in your pregnancy is really where that vigilance comes in, to monitor that you're not getting preeclamptic toxemia and your baby's growth is going well. So that's sort of the 2 things that we're really looking for at that stage. Then around 34 to 36 weeks, another phone video follow-up Zoom meeting. And then around about, I would say from 37 weeks onwards, which is term, your baby is fully cooked and ready to come out, somewhere between 32 and 42 weeks is term. At that point, a weekly contact would be important to discuss your fetal movements, etc., and at least a couple of face-to-face physical assessments at that time to check your blood pressure, and feel that midwife obstetrician feel the growth of the baby, and repeat your bloods as well, just to get a current update on your what's your platelet level like, etc. And then once you get over 40 weeks, so between 40 and 42 weeks, then probably really a weekly face-to-face physical assessment would be good. And so that's sort of really what you're looking at for your antenatal care. And we're running out of time. So next time we'll talk about postnatal and those home visits, and what should happen in the postpartum with during the COVID. Okay. Have a good week, everybody. Stay safe. Bye.